aboard! Hello and welcome to another episode of the Woodsman Whack-Off, the series that puts two woodsmen face to face to see which competitor can whack off their log the fastest. Alright, in today's episode we have Bobby Boucher takes on Ike Turner. Look out, because both of these chainsaws are angry. Bobby Boucher is a Husqvarna 281 XP built by Cajun Work Saws. You can find Cajun here on YouTube. Just type in Cajun Work Saws, Chainsaws, Husqvarna 346 XP. You'll find him. But there'll be a link in the comments as well. And we have Ike Turner, which is also an angry mother trucker. And it was built by Jeff Seacombe. It is a Stihl 064. Jeff Seacombe can be found also on YouTube. His channel is called Leave Nothing Stock. And again, if you're doing a search, just type in Leave Nothing Stock 064, and you'll probably find some of his videos. But both of these saws were built for me by these gentlemen to have a badass 5-cube get-together saw, and they both succeeded in spades. Let me tell you, both of these saws are absolutely violent. However, one of them definitely feels more violent than the other, and we're going to talk about that after this episode. So, for right now, let's get right to it and see these things cutting. It's going to be a little bit different than usual, and here you go. Alright, looky here, guys. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. See my mark there? At, right there. Right before the 5. So this thing was approximately 3 degrees off, right? So every time I would cut one side, it would be 3 degrees too short and 3 degrees too long on the other side for whenever I was doing the moving my table back and forth. See what I'm saying? So whenever I had it stationary, what I would probably was getting is one side was solid and 0 and the other side was 3 degrees off, or something like that. But anyways, I have figured it out. The way you figure it out, you put a straight edge in here, have this set to 0, and see if it lines up on that. There are videos. My suspicions that was going on, but I watched a Oregon video. Oregon themselves put out videos on how to set these things up, and I had watched that. I just now finally got around to doing it. But anyways, check out the chain. There we are. Tiny amount of burr right there. That's what we look like there. Let's see on the other side. Very nice, very nice. Still looks like it's got like a partial bump in the middle there. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But we're at 25 thousandths on the raker. Sun's on the other side. Looking pretty slick. All right, so what I learned to do was over and over and over and over and over. Tiny pieces that are so small, and this is to shape the chain. This is to shape it. So tiny swipes that are so small that you're barely getting anything, 2 at a time, move to the next tooth, 2 at a time, move to the next tooth. And I do that about 6 times per side in order to get what is going on here. And it looked really nice. I set it up this time a little bit more aggressive because I felt like before, I felt like my rakers needed to go down because it was really smooth and it didn't want to self-feed very much. I could have crammed it and it would have gone faster. Whenever you can cram it and it goes faster, that is usually, to me, it means that the rakers are too high. Well, in this situation, I decided to leave the rakers at 25 thousandths. I actually re-hit them because I took some off the tooth and I had to re-hit them just a little bit. But the rakers are still at 25 thousandths. The difference is I went for 55 degrees on my motor angle, and we're still at 30 degrees for the top plate, and we are actually at 0 degrees now because I actually set up my my grinder. So let's see how it cuts. Okay, so here we go. Bobby Boucher. I've already warmed him up just a little bit. Running fine as frog's hair. I got the muffler secured down tightly now. The piston was a-okay, perfect, and I think I got the tune spot on. So here we go. Oh. Again. Well, that chain feels really good. I definitely feel like I could go 30 thousandths on the raker, but my West Coast gauge only jumped straight to 35 thousandths, and I don't want to go there yet. Let's see what the times is of this cut compared to the times of the C83 cut and stuff, and we'll see where to go from there. But man, Bobby's running perfect. It was weird, that first cut, it kept catching on something, and I'm going to show you the cookie, what it looks like, how that showed up in the cut. I don't know what was going on exactly with that. But we're throwing really good chips. You know, again, this is really hard wood, so my chips are, it's not like it's pine. So, but it's really good. I'm really happy with the chain grinding. Whether it is as good as out of the box or better, I mean, I want it to be better, of course, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is I can now grind my chains and keep using them, get more life out of them, have less frustration, because that was a beautifully cutting chain. And if you notice I'm wearing chaps, it's because literally these two big saws, yesterday I did some testing with them and they scared me. No shit. So I'm going to go ahead and now take this bar and chain, put it on the 064 and see how it does. Alright, here we are with Ike Turner. The 064. Here we go. Already got it warmed up, and it should be ready to go. Lord of mercy. Straight up, I was a little bit scared. And, like I said before, it's called risk management. I know a lot of you guys really want to see me wear chaps every time. And you want to see me wear ear muffs and a helmet and a face shield and all that stuff. And I understand that. You're just looking out and everything. But it just ain't me. And I'm not going to force myself to do something. In this situation, force myself to do something that I think is unnecessary for my situations. Okay? This situation, two extremely powerful saws cutting a big old chunk of really hard wood with a made in China chain that I have this fear that it's going to break or get thrown or something like that. So you know what? I put the chaps on, brothers. Which one do I think was faster? It is extremely difficult to tell. This one feels more violent. That's probably because I think it has more torque. But then again, whenever I dogged in Bobby Boucher, he didn't hesitate. This one didn't either. So they're extremely evenly matched. We will literally have to go to the video to see which one's faster. And whichever one is faster, that's the one that I'll run. But both of these are going to get ran, and whatever place that they take, let's say this one is faster, and it gets, I don't know, third place, right? Bobby Boucher is getting fourth. You know, they're close. I mean, man, they're close. Or at least it feels like it to me. They both run so good, and but it is a race, and of course I'm gonna run the faster one. The chain, what do I think of the chain? Stihl, very smooth. I don't know if it came off on camera or not, but multiple times it was like catching slightly. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see where it was catching odd like that. So I don't know what was causing that. If any of you guys know, let me know. But you have very obvious points in which one of the teeth maybe sticks out a little bit further, and it digs in and it's really catching hold of something, and you know, it causes a problem. Look at that. I mean, it gouged it. I don't know if this will help, but that's a real deep gouge, you know, and they're going all the way across So that's odd, isn't it? Isn't it odd? Well, anyways, however it went, yesterday's testing with Bobby Boucher was a little bit shaky, but today's testing, both saws are running tip-top. I went ahead and with Bobby Boucher, I installed a new, a new pulley for the recoil starter, because the pulley on the old pulley was getting ate up. The dogs were digging into it and it had worn grooves, and so every now and then it wouldn't catch. That's why whenever I start it, I have to catch it and then pull. But now I can just snatch it. So, and I also went ahead and replaced the kill switch on it, so I don't have to choke it anymore to shut it off. What else did I do? Oh, I made sure that the throttle was opening 100%. The way the throttles are set up on those 288s and 281s, and probably some other saws, is you have basically a post, let's go like this, on the side of the carburetor, and then you have a rod that goes like that. And so there's no clear stop on this. It can spin all the way back around, and that butterfly, see, the butterfly is like this, and it can spin all the way around. There's wide open, but it can keep going. So I squeezed the trigger down and I pushed and made sure I was getting perfect full throttle, and I am. We're all good to go. And so after today's testing, once I look at the video, I can actually look and feel confident which saw was actually faster. Is it the 064 Ike Turner built by Jeff Seacombe with leave nothing stock, or is it the 281 XP Bobby Boucher built by Pat Cajun? Cajun Work Saws. I think he changed his name on his channel. It's just Cajun. But either way, both saws are just freaking fantastic, and I'm going to run one of them, and Tim, buddy, you're going to run the other. I hope that you're wearing Depends undergarments, Tim, because you might just piss your pants, or something else. So, all right, here we are with Ike Turner. Again, the 064. Already got it warmed up, and it's going to be ready to go. All I did, 2 swipes from every single raker. Okay, so who did not see that one coming? This guy right here. I really fully expected the Stihl to win. And it did on the vice grip there, but best 2 out of 3. The nod goes to Bobby Boucher, and I gotta say, so what's going on here? All right, so both saws feel whoa, right? They do. They whoa. And I've said it before, I've ran a handful of really fast saws at this point, and no one would shake their head at either of these two saws. But when you run that Stihl, it feels particularly aggressive. It's like, oh my God. And whenever I ran them back to back today, I had a thought, and I went, the Husqvarna's got better anti-vibe. That's why it doesn't feel as insanely aggressive as the Stihl does. Because the Stihl feels insanely aggressive, and that's the one that scared me, and I had to actually put on chaps because I was scared. But I truly thought that thing had considerably more power than the 281. But clearly it doesn't. I think that it probably does have more torque, and the 281 has more RPMs, but they're so evenly matched that it's just like, what? And on the vice grip, I mean, that right there is easily messed up. I've done this now hundreds and hundreds of times for the camera, and I go back and I look at my results, and so I'm like, okay, I pushed too hard, didn't push hard enough, back and forth. It very well could have been that I didn't push as hard on the Stihl as I did on the Husky. It could have been the big dogs. The Stihl has the West Coast dogs, and they give you more leverage. Maybe I was pushing harder. Who knows? You would have to do this back and forth again and again and again to make sure that you get really, really fair footage of it. The other thing to look at is I definitely was able to go up further with the Stihl because of those long dogs. Those big West Coast dogs set me further off of the tree, or the log in this case. So, regardless of what happened, best 2 out of 3, I think I'm going to get the better time with Bobby Boucher. And so I'm going to run Bobby Boucher, especially because I'm pretty sure this class, they're going to recommend a 24-inch bar, and I'll be running a 24-inch bar probably without my dogs at all. And my point is a 24-inch bar won't make it through this log exactly. And I don't have to worry about getting even bigger, like a 28-inch bar. I think a 24 is going to really, really work, in which case, even if the Stihl does have a slight advantage in torque, it's not going to be needed because we're probably going to be cutting in a log smaller than what I'm running right here. See what I'm saying? This is a full, like, 24-inch log. I bet you what they're going to have up there is going to be 22 inches or 20, smaller, you know what I mean? So any torque advantage that the Stihl may have because it has a 40 millimeter stroke versus the Husky's, I think the Husky has a 38 millimeter stroke. Any advantage that they may have, the Stihl may have, is going to be pointless because I'm actually going to be running in a smaller log than I have right now. And the 281 is going to be able to pull a higher RPM, I think. And, you know, we're talking like 100 RPM, not much. These saws are so evenly matched. I mean, I just, running them, you would swear up and down that the Stihl is so much more powerful because it's got to be just, it's got crappy anti-vibe in comparison to this 281. This 281 has a real big shock absorbing spring up front. And so if I set this up to run without the dogs at Sawfest, then it's likely that it will feel violent like more violent as well. So, but anyways, potato. And the chain that I will probably run, I don't know, I might go with an out of the box C83 because I just did a test using the Stihl 064, measuring a square grind chain, a C83 out of the box, and this C83 with 2 swipes. I thought the 2 swipes would give me an advantage. It doesn't. At least not in this great big oak. It doesn't. So, yeah, I'll probably just run a completely out of the box C83 on Bobby Boucher. And then Tim, you'll get to run this Stihl 064. And man, let me tell you, if either one of us stumble, the other one will win. In any way, they're so closely matched. It's really cool. I think that's cool, you know. But, yeah. Oh, what can I say about my chain? Now, that is a longer chain, and I am starting finally to just get everything figured out where I want to be. It's considerably slower than the C83, but most things are. I think what you saw with the C83 was getting like 17 seconds in this cut, and the longer chain that I ground with my grinder, and I'm getting the hang of at this point finally, I think its best time was like 23 seconds. So that's 6 seconds. That's a lot. It's a lot slower. However, it does feel good, and it feels really smooth, and it feels really nice, and it feels like I'd be able to go to 35 thousandths of an inch on the rakers. I don't know if I want to or not, but this grind, if you missed it, is 55 degrees, 30 degrees, 0 on the table. So, and it's 25 thousandths on the rakers. So anyways, regardless of where it's at and how good it could be, blah, 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 I don't care. What I care about is I have finally gotten to where with my grinder, I can go through and I can get a decent grind on chains that I can utilize here on my ranch, you know, and they work good. They work. So I'm very happy about that. Also, if I did that exact same grind to, like, say, a Stihl RS chain or even a Husqvarna C83 chain or an Oregon EXL chain, if I did that same exact grind, it's likely to be better than on this longer chain, because the longer chains are still a really cheap alternative. And so they're a decent, cheap alternative, but they're not the high quality metals that we're seeing in the big three: Husqvarna, Stihl, and Oregon. All right. Those are your big three chain manufacturers, and regardless of how they come out of the box, they are superior grade of metal. Yeah. Let me know in the comments who you thought was going to win. I mean, seriously, who you wanted to win, all that stuff. I gotta say, if we had a way of more accurately measuring the dog in, because you got to remember, I ran both of those saws, and whenever I was doing the dog ends, I could not tell a difference in the torque of those two. I suspected that the Stihl had more torque, but I couldn't really tell it. It just felt more violent, and that's what kind of made me suspect it had more torque. But thinking about it, it's probably just has crappy anti-vibe, in comparison. So it would be interesting to know. I guess the only way that you'd really be able to know is send both of these saws to Dyno Joe, which I would love to do, but that's a lot of effort and a lot of shipping. I don't know, maybe I'll do it someday. I mean, that would be really good to see where they're actually producing their power and all that stuff. Both of these saws are running 7-pin sprockets. I believe in a 7-pin sprocket. A better operator might be able to get higher speeds with an 8-pin sprocket, but having a 7-pin allows me to make a mistake because I've got more torque on tap. And as well as in this big wood, no way. But now, like if I go to a show, like a real race, and they're running these big saws in 8x8 or 9x9, something like that, am I going to step up to an 8-pin? Oh God, yes. You know, maybe a 9. I don't know. I have a 9 now. Oh, you guys don't know that. Where's it at? Ta-da! I haven't shown that off yet, but I have a 9-pin 3/8 sprocket. It cost me a shitload of money, $45 for that thing. But I suspect that this will get put to good use. I feel like a 10-pin is going to be too big. 8-pin is going to be too small. 9-pin is going to be just right for Bobby Boucher in little tiny pine and a race chain. Just a guess at this point, but anyways, that's enough. I hope you enjoyed the video, and later.